I don't know how if it's like if I'll ever get away from it. But anyways, man, welcome back. Secret House against the world.
Secret House.
Tokyo-based hip-hop album reviews and conversations, primarily underground, independent, dope shit. I will even do some other things like non-hip-hop genres if they meet the ideological criterias for us. Three cats. You can see the names at the bottom. Please like and subscribe. We've been having a wonderful time getting people without promoting our channel whatsoever. Have you guys ever made a post? I know you made like a Facebook post about us, but I'm not on that. I'm not on it. Our Instagram page is hella dead. But yeah, man, you guys can contact us at the bottom or at goonmaneuvers@gmail.com if you have any questions.
What's the spelling of maneuvers?
I mean, the common American spelling. The common American spelling of maneuvers.
Maneuvers.
Real English.
Don't ask me to spell in front of people and shit. I might have to edit it out.
Maneuvers
How do you
is a difficult word, man.
Yeah, right. How do you spell convenience? It's like,
Yeah.
oh shit, I get all
Tap it
sweaty.
out.
Anyways, man, we here today to review another incredibly dope album by the two-person rap crew, Shrapnel, Curly Castro, Primrock. Their new album, the sophomore album, Metal Lung, that just dropped on Backwoods Studios. Home of our guy Billy Woods and Lucid and all these other phenomenal hip-hop artists. It's 13 songs, about 43 minutes. As I said, this is their sophomore album from their debut self-titled joint that came out, I want to say like 2 years ago. This is also coming in on the back of the Wrecking Crew, which is another one of their crews. These guys got like mad crews, right? The Wrecking Crew, which dropped like 2 months ago or something like that. I wanted to review it, but then, Mega got COVID and other things happened. But that one's also really good too. This album is primarily produced by Steel Tip Dove, but I think also there's a joint from Child Actor on there and maybe another producer.
Yeah.
Man. As it is, I like to get started by us talking about how we know these artists, especially if we've never reviewed their work before, which we have reviewed a Primrock joint,
the
Occam's Blazer joint, which Spade especially loved. We all really enjoyed that joint. Please go back and check that one out, man. That's phenomenal. But yeah, let's talk about Curly Castro and Prim and Steel Tip Dove as well. Like, are you guys familiar with these cats at all, or?
Yeah. I mean, I've been a casual fan of Primrock for a minute. Curly Castro is someone who I've been familiar with for a while. I listened to last year's Little Robert Hutton, which is a great album, but I don't like his voice, so I find it hard to like get down with like what he's doing. I think he's dope, but of my own personal biases, I'm just not a huge fan of his voice. I find him a little bit too abrasive for the kind of music that he's making.
It'd be like that sometimes,
I didn't know about the Curly Castro guy, but of course I got introduced to Primrock from the Occam's Blazer, so I was actually looking forward to listening to this, and let me tell you, I'm glad I did.
I told you the Occam's Razor was not necessarily a kind of like a good look into how he writes like lyrics and raps, but that's a great project. Check that shit out. For me, I've been familiar with these guys for a long time. Castro, I might have got into a little bit late, around the time he probably released Tosh, which is he's got I believe he has Jamaican roots background and comes from that. But my man, the homie that used to be out here, Tracy Jones, shout out to my man Tracy Jones. You guys can find he had a joint release on Uncommon Records, but he was a writer out here for a long time and been on my podcast. Tracy Jones did an interview with Curly. I think they're homies from back in the day when Tracy was out in New York. But I'm familiar with these cats a lot through that. Prim and his album and his work for Whole Minute, as well as like Zilla Rocca, who's not on this album, but Castro, Zilla Rocca, and Alaska have a podcast called Call Out Culture, which is the three of them discussing like great MCs, great albums. Sometimes they just talk shit. And, I like all of them, but I do understand what you have to say about Castro's voice. It works for me sometimes it don't.
I like his voice.
It's really not a critique of his music or anything like that. That's strictly just like, I don't particularly like his voice.
If I could get voices though, me and you like loopers and
I like weird voices too. But no, the thing about Castro, man, it's like I don't think I've ever like disagreed with somebody as much as him when it comes to like listening to a podcast. Sometimes I hear Castro
What
on the
about
call out
DJ
culture.
Elspade?
Yeah. That guy gets it too. No, but Castro, I feel like podcast is crazy because you're that's like the closest you can come to experience being a ghost. Like you
Friendship
feel like you're in a
simulator, yeah.
conversation. No, but Castro got a lot of good points and he's a smart dude. He's of the culture. In fact, all of these cats are extremely from the culture, like hip hop culture that I grew up with. I think we're all comparable ages at this point. So like they grew up like going crazy with like the Mighty Healthy verse from Ghostface and they were there when I don't know, Cold Vein dropped and it blew all of our minds. So a lot of these guys, we share the same sensibilities and kind of understand the lineage of, well, I mean, shit, they are the lineage, but I understand the lineage of where their art comes from, and I think they're all really, really dope. Even Still Tip Dub, who we didn't speak much about, has produced a lot of really dope tracks, and he's got an interesting approach to production. He had that joint last year that was like Call Me When You're Outside, which sounds a lot like that Tyler the Creator.
Get in touch with me when you're around.
Right. Send me a DM when you're out. Yeah. He also had another joint called like Nothing Here Touches the Ground, and he's just a phenomenal producer, which I think let's just jump into the review and the critique of the album.
For sure.
The three of these cats together is a really ill combination. The three of these cats together is a real ill combination. I didn't care super much for the last Shrapnel joint. I thought there was some really good tracks on there, but it wouldn't have hit my top. It didn't hit my top 20 that year. I think there was a lot of good music that year, but I did enjoy it, right? This joint, it kind of like the kind of vibe and aesthetic that they create through all of the tracks with the features and fucking scratching and some of the things they're talking about and just the back and forth lyricism and their approach. Like this shit to me is I wish I had trees because it is a kind of a psychedelic headphone type of experience. I mean, I feel like it's a headphone experience, but I played it on the speakers as we were preparing today and I was like, oh, it sounds good. Period. But on headphones, I was all over the place with this joint,
definitely
bro.
a headphone experience.
Crazy.
And it's also, sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
cut
go
you
ahead,
off.
man.
It's an album. This is not just 13 tracks that got put together, and there's a lot of features on here, but they don't feel disjoint. Like the whole thing feels very cohesive. There's like no melody until like track 5. Like until like Mescalito. It's extremely rhythmic.
Yeah.
A lot of drums and percussion for the first few tracks, and then like you have those horns gently coming in on Mescalito,
and then
the
Billy
album
Woods
just, like,
comes, yeah, bro.
flowers outwards.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful, and just the way that it builds up to that feels so intentionally and really well sequenced.
Yeah, I mean, like the first track, Running Rebel Swordplay, like those drums are just like really driving and they're
Before
both
you get
kind
to
of
that,
going
let me get
off.
this off real quick.
Yeah,
I'm
bust
sorry,
it, bust
man.
it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like this album's beats sounds like what folks give Alchemist credit for.
Here
And
we
I'm
go.
not trying to like shit on Alchemist, but like the production on this was so creative, innovative. While being minimalistic, it was creative. You had distorted instrument, drums,
Multiple sample layering.
dynamic
Really textured and
panel,
layered,
like,
yes.
And the energy was there. The way it was mixed, dude, you had all the energy. Like this is like what I wanted the last album to sound like in my head. Like
Last album meaning the album we just
yes.
reviewed.
The transitions in here were solid. Like you do like fall in the trap sometimes of having like a 4 to 8 bar loop, but then the transition with the feels just make it all encompassing. So it's really put together. It's almost like the Occam's Blazer one in the how it's composed. It was just really well thought out. Like the transitions make sense, and all the titles. Like, because this is another thing that's happening.
Hold on, let me hit you. The turntablism was used as an instrument instead of just like put a turntable
Oh, now
scratch
I'm
there.
getting to
You know
that.
what I mean?
I'm
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
to that because the
Bust it.
turntablism in it was actually like well placed. It wasn't
Yeah.
like pointless scratching.
It was like an instrument.
Yes,
Yeah,
like on the
let's add
Alice
that.
in Wonderland one, when they took the sample.
Damn Alice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Damn Alice. When they took the Alice in Wonderland sample and they scratched it in to make a skit instead of just like putting the sample by itself, but then like crab scratching and back spinning and then modulating. It's
It was hard.
Perfect.
It was hard.
perfect.
It
Like
was
the
hard.
way you guys thought this album out, like I gotta give this Prim Rock guy credit, man, because you are actually thinking of how to put together a good album. And this album, like you said, is an album album. Like somebody thought about this. This is well damn thought out. And the Metal Some Kids, I wanted to grab a chair and crack somebody in the back of the head when I heard that track.
Rob
dog.
Sonic is ill on that
Bro,
shit
I was
too.
like, man, woo! I was in the gym. I was like, man, nobody better not say shit to me right now.
I'm not
gonna
familiar
kick him
with
in the
Rob
head.
Sonic's discography. You got like a
yeah.
recommendation on there?
I mean, Alice in the Thunderdome is a really good project from him. Sabotage Gigante, which is like Sabado Gigante, but Sabotage Gigante. He also check out he's one half of Hail Mary Mallon, Aesop Rock and Rob Sonic. So Bestiary, their second album, the first one, I forget what it's called, but both of those projects are dope. Rob Sonic, Rob Sonic is absolutely like it's imperative that you go back and check out his catalog.
When I
fire.
saw that fefeature list, I was like, mega. I was like, this is such a mega list of collaborators.
These guys are really like, you know, through the lyrics, these guys are really on board. I almost put on my 20-year-old Cannibal Ox shirt that looks like shit, because just to call it back, man, like these cats, if you listen, these guys are so much of the culture and so hip hop that the lines are riddled with these callbacks and refrains and these poetic devices that show homage, but also kind of like highlight the legacy of a lot of these artists. The way they incorporate it shows that like this is an authentic thing of who they are. You hear so many callbacks to MCs, a lot of refrains on this album that don't give you that kind of cringe like The Game just said, you know, somebody that he works with. Like it starts off and they're talking about like Vord Omega, they're talking about like Child of Doomale, you know, MF Doom. There's a lot of like even shit like them tables wobble wobble, shaky shaky.
Yeah, I love that one. Yeah, that was a good
the
bar.
Feed Your Head shit is like, you know, Alice in Wonderland, but also on that at the end it's got like that old Sean Price joint. How does it go? I'm not sure anymore, who is knocking at my door from the fucking Helter Skelter joint, but they fucking freak it and it's like, I'm not sure anymore, who something about the mirror. But yo, all through this whole album, there's just so many parts like that. They've got that old Cab Calloway fucking Heidi Ho, you know what I mean? They're like, this shit is so hip hop, like hip hop culture to me,
was a
bro.
good history lesson too. The Acid Vignette, I was like, dude, that just went through like a big thing to me. I was like, wow, you guys are painting the picture.
Who is singing on that shit, right? Like whoever it was, Donovan Days or that other group.
Right.
That shit just, there's so many like interesting inclusions from collaborators to this album that make it more than just kind of the sum of their parts. It seems like everything is very well thought out and they seek to create such a like well orchestrated, put together album. Like it doesn't get boring to me at any point. And it doesn't get boring at all. Like when they release, like, look, that Wrecking Crew joint that just came out like 2 months ago, it's dope. Like it's lyricism and shit, but this is like a more psychedelic or experimental approach to that. Like they're really ill on that and they always rap well, but this joint is just different, man. This joint is just different.
The titles actually match the music. When you read the title, you listen to the music, you listen to the lyric, it's all encompassing and it fits. Like that damn Alice, everything about that song, from the title to the beat to the lyrics to the scratches,
crunchy, digital but etheric, like a futuristic. Like a lot of the lines are like Wonderland bars and shit, bro. That shit is
all
ill.
matches. Like the Acid Vignette, everything matches. The Metal Some Kids, everything matches. Like when I look at the title and I listen to the lyrics and I listen to the beat, it all fits, and that takes talent.
That kind of that what is it? A Tribe all stressed out. A Tribe
that sample is like on the tip of my tongue. Like the whole time I'm listening, I'm like, what's that?
What is that?
Sample?
What is that?
What is it? What is that? And it's been bothering me.
If you know, put it in the comments, please.
Yeah, please. Sample snitch. Do it.
But I mean, yeah, we ain't gonna tell nobody. But yeah, that shit is like, I gotta say, the one joint that I just don't care for on this, and it's just a personal. It's just a personal joint, right? When they released the album, like they had the single to drop, and the single that they dropped was Lazy Dog.
Okay.
When I heard that, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. Lazy Dog it feels
it's
like
kind of just like, you know, it's like a very, it's like the complaint that you have about some of the Alchemist work, right? It was just like, all right, this beat is sparse enough that we can really focus on the lyrics. The lyrics are really good. okay.
That's fair. Yes.
You know what I mean? But I was like, why would you put that as the lead single when so much of the album is just so much more wild and different than that? And that's the one joint I really don't like off of the album, Lazy Dog. But man, like, yo, I
Running
was
Rebel Swordplay.
I was pleasantly surprised by that shit.
Mescalito, fucking Ghost Kitchen, Castro
Bro,
on there.
Gravity Falls is ill.
Gravity
Like I
Falls,
said,
dope.
I'm not even a fan of what Castro does, but like he goes off on Ghost Kitchen.
Bro.
It's like so vivid and so like beautiful what he's doing. The way that he just puts everything together is like incredible.
Can I also say, man, you guys have mastered how to match your cadence with the beat.
Thanks, bro.
One thing.
Oh, you talking
yeah,
about
we-
them? No, sorry, my bad.
Running Rebel
Best rapper in the
Swordplay.
UK.
Yeah.
It's really just a drum loop, right? And the drum loop is awesome. But the way you got your flow matching the drum loop
Yeah.
and like going up and hitting the dynamics, masterclass and how to catch it. Listen to that, dog.
Yeah, when that came on, I was like, oh, okay, this is different.
Oh, they rapping.
I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, these fools are coming different.
This beat reminds me of like Most Def, Quiet Dog Bite Hard, like on a bunch of cocaine.
Hey,
Like
word.
just as soon as that beat came, I was like,
Bro, you know, one of the wackest things for me is like, you know what I mean? I'm an old man at this point, but like living in Tokyo, obviously like trees is mass illegal out here. And even if you do embark upon those endeavors, they're very expensive. But this album to me is one that I would like to just light a branch and then post up with it on the headphones. So many of these lyrics are not like, they're the types that kind of unfold more and more the more as you listen to them. And that's the type of writer that Primrock is. But Castro has like a little bit of a different approach. But
grittiness,
even on this shit, like Castro was killing me with some of these bars, like follow the steps on your $1 pyramid.
Yeah,
Sima who got the keys to oblivion.
Oblivion.
I was like, ugh, this fool is fucking nasty. These fools are going off. This album, I don't want to be, you know, there's a lot of good music came out this year. I haven't thought about it too much, but I'm almost certain this is going to be on a top 10
Yeah,
for
you
me.
can say it.
For
Yeah.
just, I have a listening enjoyment with this, and I think that this really strikes a chord for an old aging b-boy like myself.
For myself too, man. Once again, this goes back to the Rock Marcy. I'm like, dude, you're an aging rapper. I don't know how old these guys are, but for me, being an aging man in hip hop, this hit everything, and the energy was here, and the beats are not super like crunky or hype it, but like this is gym music.
It truly feels like a progression of hip hop, like all the kind of ethos that we held for hip hop to have. It kind of feels like it meets those in a modern contemporary sense, not in the sense where it's like look, you know, the Snow Goons, right? They're doing hip hop like true school, drums, beats, rapping and shit, but it sounds just like just older, you know what I mean?
like that.
Yeah, like a
right.
Decca, yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
but this,
Yep, Decca.
hey, you gonna get us, the Decca fans, you guys are out of control in the comments. I'm gonna whoop somebody's ass one of these days. Oh my God, I'm so sick and tired of those fools. And go back to the Decca comments again. Calm down, Decca fans.
What the Decca? How did he get such a following? Seriously, dog.
Bro, I think it's a bunch of white kids. They're smart for listening to it. But anyways, this shit really strikes a chord for me, and really just like it feels like new, interesting hip hop. It feels like something different while still meeting all the criterias that I would want in what is
It's
considered hip
boom
hop.
bap on
to me.
steroids
Right.
for me, man.
Yeah,
I'm like,
bro.
yo, this is hard.
Yeah, bro. This is what I want to hear from artists. I don't want to hear people copying this, but I want to listen to something and feel like it's its own. Yes. And I feel like in this day and age, like all of these artists who contributed to this album, except for the the MCs, right? Like Woods, Rob Sonic, you know, the obviously the cast of the album, like all of these cats are doing this type of music where it's like here or there and different and changing the world. I mean, Billy Woods is definitely on my top 5 albums of the year. But this is vastly different than what Billy Woods is doing.
Super creative,
vastly different
man.
than what an Oral Sweatshirt is doing. Vastly different from what a Rock Marciano is doing. This has its own character. It's not a JPEG Mafia ripoff or anything like that. These fools really just came with something that is like
unique to them.
to them, and I appreciate it and I enjoy it. And yeah, man, this is easy 8 for me. I like this album a lot. Easy 8 for me. I need to play it more. To be honest, there's been too much good music that dropped, and I've been jumping around to try to be fair to all these artists. But this album is it. Every time I listen to it more, it's like, what's going on here? Like, oh, I missed this part when I listened to it the first time, or I didn't notice that little joint over here on the left side. You know what I mean? So yeah, this is my jam. Are we gonna rate it?
Yeah, I'm letting Jet. I feel like I'm over talking. I'm sorry.
I don't know. Yeah, 8, solid 8. It's cool. I need to listen to it more, honestly. Like, there's a lot to unpack, sonically and lyrically, and I think that maybe by the end of the year it will be my favorite album of the year. It's so impressionistic and beautiful in places, gritty in places. There's such a variety of like sounds and themes going on. It's jazzy, it's horn player rap, as you like to put it. Ironically, a lot of horns on there as well. This second half here of Mescalito is insane. They don't even got Billy Woods on the track listing though. It's like he's not even crazy. He just shows up. It's like he just walked into the studio.
I appreciate that too.
Let me kick some shit.
I appreciate that because once again, you're living off your name, not Billy Woods. A lot of folks would have said that and be like, "Oh, it's a good track." Surprise me, Billy. I appreciate that. This album for me is a 9. I'm like, it's a damn good album. Like, and I know what you guys saying. Well, DJ L-Spade, you don't like minimalistic beats. This one was super creative, like minimalistic, but everything fit. It's a well thought out project. I love the distortion. I love the mixing choices. I like how they put reverb on some of the drums. I like the guitar choice. I like the sample choice. I like the sample flips. I love the transitions.
It's also like more than the sum of its parts.
It is.
A lot of, like on like Living Analog is like every individual element of that beat is really annoying. And yet the beat itself is incredible.
Works, right?
Like, it all just coalesces so beautifully.
I don't know how y'all got it to work, but it works. This is like a great boom bap album. The only flaw to this album, a lot of the bars tend to repeat at times. Like you go over the same concepts and some of the bar patterns, I'm like, all right. But like I can forgive it because everything else is masterfully done. This is a 9, and this will be on my top 10 at the end of the year. This is a damn good album. Print rock. Job, guys. Let me tell you something, buddy. Y'all guys got a future in this game. Let me tell you. You guys, you got this old man happy, man. It's hope for the future. And yo, all the producers on this thing, man, seriously, you guys showed your asses off. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it.
Fuck the alt-right.
Say that. Greatest album ever.
Yo, support underground independent hip-hop. Support people in your community that is making really dope hip-hop. There is a long, beautiful history of cats that you probably never fucking heard of that have made some of the most influential music that your favorite mainstream artists are probably fucking biting right now. So, word up, man. Like, yeah, peace. Rob Sonic.